Hello, I'm Dagmar Painter, curator of Gallery Al-Quds here at the Jerusalem Fund, and I'm sitting with Najib Joe Hakim, whose exhibit, Home Away from Home, Little Palestine by the Bay, is on show at the gallery. Najib, I wanted to ask you to talk a little bit about the premise of the exhibition. We have a number of photographs in black and white that are accompanied by audio texts of the people in the photographs telling their personal stories. How did you come to the idea of actually finding these people and doing the interviews?
What I wanted to do was to give the Palestinians in this country a chance to say in their own words what their stories are. I grew up here myself, and Palestinians are always spoken for if they were acknowledged at all in this country. And I'm taking this to a very literal level where they're actually, you get to look at these pictures and hearing on your smartphone or on the videotape, you can hear them tell parts of their stories. And it's, I think it adds such a strong emotional and personal bond to the person. The impact is, for me, it was very dramatic, and I'm hoping people who hear this and see this will feel that way themselves.
You found a great variety of people. I understand that the Palestinian community in the general Bay Area is quite large. And the thing that's intriguing about this exhibition is there are people of all ages, all sorts of occupations, and with very moving stories to tell. How did you find the individuals, and how did you get them to tell stories that in some cases were so moving that people were brought to tears?
That seems like such a normal question for a project like this, and I find it one of the hardest questions to answer because people just seem to appear. I mean, it's a very large community of Palestinians in this country. It's the second largest, about 50,000 people. And so there's a lot of diversity in terms of religion, economic status, employment, religious beliefs, everything. And so I've lived in San Francisco since 1987, and I know some people in that time, and through them and through some of the organizations, people led me from one to the other. And a lot of people would turn me down, but say, I know somebody for you. And I said, okay, well, let me have it. So, and as far as getting people to speak, I tried to reassure them, because I know a lot of them are not experienced interviewers or interviewees. And I told them, I'm not Mike Wallace. This is not going to be a 60 minutes interview. We just met. We're going to feel like we're sitting in a cafe getting to know each other and talk. I'm going to share some of my stories with you too. And I thought, well, one, I really like to do that. I can't hold back. But also, by offering some of my stories, I think that also opened up a level of trust and intimacy that, I'm willing to open myself to you. It's also being recorded. And I think that helped develop a rapport. And one thing I noticed in discussion, these interviews, is so many shared experiences and feelings that I had with these people. It wasn't just that I was doing some kind of journalistic or anthropological study or anything like that. It was more, we really were people getting to know each other at a cafe, except it was in their homes or somewhere near their homes. Whether it was a feeling of alienation, hiding your Palestinian or Arab identity in this country, or our inability to speak Arabic as well as we probably should, if at all, our appreciation for Arabic food, the quirkiness of our particular families. We all seem to have a lot of those same shared experiences, which made the whole project a lot of fun to do for me.
One of the things I found most fascinating was the interviews that you did with the very young people, many of whom, all of whom practically were born here, and yet had, through their family connection and the life that they led, such an amazing tie to their home away from home, Palestine, that I think would be unexpected for people who are not aware of how close the Palestinian community is and how the existence of Palestine is such a real force in their lives. Could you talk just very, very briefly about perhaps one of the younger people that you interviewed?
Well, one young guy was a freshman in college. He was going to a school on the East Coast, but his family lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. And he was brought up American. He talks very eloquently about that. And his father is Polish American. His mother is Palestinian American. So he's even just technically half Palestinian. And yet that Palestinian side of him is such a profoundly integral part of his persona and self-identity. I mean, after we had done the interview that day, a week later he was back in the West Bank for the summer. And so he goes back with his mother. He's got relatives there. He sees the situation for himself, and he can see it from an American point of view, but he feels it from an Arab point of view somehow. I mean, he still has it somehow. And I credit his mother a lot for it, and his family, the Arab side of his family, because I think she made a very strong point in making him aware of his Palestinianness, but also of using his critical mind, not just to accept what you see and hear in this culture in America, but to think for yourself and take advantage of your various identities to give you a particular and unique perspective on the world that we're living in.
I want to thank you for giving us the chance to have all of these fascinating people populate our gallery for 6 weeks. And we are going to be having the images on our website, and we will be putting up some of the audio as well so that you can get to know some of the people from home away from home. Thank you.